training equipment that we use. So some of the training equipment we use is a bite sleeve, right? And we're talking about, you saw it in the Mark's gone crazy before, right? So he knows, Lou knows, they all know what this is. So they start training on this part right here, which is burlap, at like probably 3 or 4 weeks old. And they start with a piece of burlap, start teaching them to bite it, right? So when we talk about training, right, start with repetition, and so they start at the beginning, they work their way up. As soon as then they're comfortable, they have an 80% success rate, they will bite this, then they move on to something else, right? So we have 2 things we'll use. Something we use a bite suit, or we use a bite sleeve. A bite sleeve is quicker and easier, depending on the circumstances. But for demos, this is awesome. So what we're going to do is we're going to bring Lou out. He's going to put his stuff on. We're going to bring him out. We'll put him on the bite on this sleeve right here. And what you're going to find, you're going to see, is that he doesn't care about anything else. He's not going to care about you. He's not going to care about me. He's only going to care about this sleeve. So we'll be able to walk him around by you guys. You'll see he's going to stay here. He's not interested in coming out. So that's the goal that you want, right? The goal is that whatever you tell him to do, he will do until he's told to do otherwise. Right? So when we tell him to go find somebody, then he will go find, he will search. He will search until that person is found. Right? And so if we're training, then they'll have a sleeve or they'll have something else if we're not training. So again, Lou knows exactly what this is. He knows exactly what to do with this. So this has what's called a bite bar in it. Like there's actually 0 pain for this. The only pain for this is in my shoulder to my 48. Right? That's the only pain that this causes me. But for him, it's just enjoyment. Like this thing is what I say, playground, right? 85.
What's the name of that dog?
He knows what it is.
Lou?
He wants to come over
What's his
here.
name?
Lou.
The dog's name is Lou?
That's
Lou. Yep.
Hi, Lou.
L-E-W.
Hi, Lou.
The youngest of our dogs that just having turned 5. In fact, it's just I think he turned 5. So he's our youngest dog. But again, he's super good. He's a great dog, and he knows exactly what this bite sleeve is for. So what we're going to do is we're going to have him, he's going to come, he's going to bite, and then we're going to walk him around a little bit and show you that he's going to stay on the bite because he understands it, right? And he's going to do exactly what he's told to do. So he's going to send him to bite. Remember what we talked about too, the impact, right? And so when he comes and bites, like you're going to see me, I'll spin a little bit. It's what we call bleed with speed. It helps reduce the impact on his neck. Now this is just going to be a short bite because this is obviously just a demonstration, but sometimes they've got to go all the way across the street. It just depends on what they have to do, what the circumstances are, and that's what we try and train from. Alright? Without further ado, I'm going to let Jacob send him on the bite, then I'll let Jacob talk about him as he's on the bite, and we'll just walk around. Now Lou is about 85 pounds, he's bigger than Buck. He weighs more than Buck. Doesn't make him better or worse than Buck, it is what it is. They're all different. Alright? So, on you. Yep. So you see his tail's wagging, not interested in doing anything.
He's having a good time. I'll keep this leash. You can see some lights coming out of his collar. That's just something that I use every once in a while when we're in a dark building at night, when we're searching a field, something like that. It's something that I could put on so that I could more readily see him and locate him. You can see how dark he is. It's a brindle color, you know, so he's got that black and brown. You can see his front paws. He's trying to hold on to them, but when I touch them, he doesn't like them, right? So I'll touch his front paws, and he doesn't like it whatsoever.
But his tail's wagging. He's not mad.
He's having a good time.
He's not angry.
It's a good time for him.
The dogs are not angry at the suspects. It's all play dry to them.
It's all just something he's been taught to do.
Will he read grip if he lost his grip?
Would he what?
If he lost his
He
head,
would.
yes.
But he won't come off.
Dog said if he did.
If he
But,
did, yeah.
but that's also something that we talk about with our decoys in the beginning stages of teaching our dogs. When they do that, when they do what we call like a shallow bite or a short bite or a little bite, we want them to have a full mouth bite because one, it limits the damage, and two, if the dog is pinching that skin, he's going to tear that skin more than if he just has a full mouth bite. Plus, also on that full mouth bite, he's also better able to control that suspect. And in my situation, in that last bite, or in that last incident that we had, he had to pull that suspect out of a row of bushes. It was unsafe for us as officers to go in there. There was probably about 18 inches between the bush and the building. There was no way we could get in there based off of that situation. And so again, we had that suspect and the dog come to us. So again, I yelled at the suspect, bring the dog to us. Lou has a command that I'll give him. Hey, bring that, whatever you got, bring it to me, bring it to me. And it's just a simple command that I'll give him. And he knows, oh, Dad wants me to bring my toy that I just collected back to him, you know?
So when the suspects are screaming because they're being bit, doesn't affect the dog at all?
Nope. It does not negatively affect the dog.
Are you allowed to use those like leashes with electricity for training purposes for these dogs?
So you don't just tell them to let go, you have to physically pull them off?
So it's not a matter of whether you can tell them, but it's about positive control of the dog, right? And so as the trainer of this unit, I believe that positive control of the dog is essential to prevent accidental bites or rebites. So for example, if he was biting him over there, and I gave him the command to let go, which is Los, and I gave him the command to let go, and he let go, and hopefully he comes back to me. But if he doesn't come back to me, then does he rebite that guy? Right? And so every single time a dog bites somebody, it has to be properly predicated, right? It has to meet all the elements. So if I send him and he bites somebody for one thing, and I want him to bite him a second time, I have to properly predicate that second bite. So
He's just so skinny looking. You know, there are like those speed
It's 'cause
bulls,
he's
they're
taller.
all muscles, and this one's like, I see his rib cage.
He
That's
is
because he's
skinny,
lean.
But again, like I was